Our Ring doorbell exposed my wife's affair. Note: I also posted this in another form just a minute ago. New to both, so I'm not sure if that's appropriate. Took my 3 kids to Florida on vacation for 5 days. Caught my wife on the Ring doorbell, bringing a dude into the house on her first night away. She denied everything. She told me it was a new woman from work. However, it looked like a guy. I confronted her over the doorbell, and she said it was a lesbian that was new to her clinic. However, strangely, she suspiciously changes undershirts between times I'm seeing her on the doorbell, letting the dog out. I was still very suspicious. I spent 5 days of feeling sick around 3 teenagers and not wanting to mention why. Eventually, after 2 weeks of questioning, I busted open her phone, found a 2-week hardcore sex romp where she was even emailing me a whole videos of her masturbating in my living room. Their commentary is filled with very twisted sex talk. Almost all anal sex and S&M. No judgment if you're into that thing. Lots of talk about if I'm going to figure it out or not. Finally figured it out. Called the guy from her phone and called him a freaking a-hole. We've been married for 10 years. She lost her son 3 years ago and has been delving into alcoholism ever since. The guy is from AA and is supposedly one of the leaders there. One of their main things is not to allow dating of people in crisis. Apparently, to this moron, it doesn't matter. 6 in my stomach. But nothing anyone can do about it. She's now asking for divorce. Just sharing my misery. And praising the wonderful Ring doorbell system piece. Virtual detective 375 times in first. Same thing happened to my colleague. His wife was alcoholic. She started to go to awe, and she started an affair with her group leader. Affair lasted for a few months. He drained her of a $1,000. OP, check your account if you share finances. The op responds, due to the alcoholism and a few other things, she's never even seen one of my checks. She's maybe not as bad as I'm making her sound, but part of her is. She's also working and has her own money. Just waiting for her to get caught drinking as a nurse. The next comment comes from On the Beach 61. Give her the divorce she wants and ask for the children to be with you. Tell the children she's done and ask them if they want to live with you. Then go to the AA leader and tell him what happened. The op responds, yeah. 2 of the kids are mine no matter what. My stepson is hers, but I'm friends with their dad. So I'll be able to see him through the other family. Just don't want to leave him alone with a woman who's been drinking every day for 2 to 3 years. I've been the only stability. The mockingbird chimes in next. Cheating aside, I hope you reported him. He's a predator who's clearly going after those in a vulnerable position. Plus, it completely undermines AA. The response from the op says, just out of curiosity, how would you do such a thing? Because it is kind of effed. Revolutionary Hat 688 says, it's not an FU. You're absolutely pointing out a legal issue. AA is an organization that can be sued like any other for sexual harassment, and the press around that suck. So you're probably saving another person from the same crap later. If this guy is doing this, it's probably a pattern, and that makes him a predator in my book. It's one thing to sit in a bar and try to pick up married women. It's a whole other level trying to talk them out of alcoholism and into their pants because you're in a position of power and they are vulnerable. One more comment from Logical One. When they have addictions to drugs or alcohol, it always seems to eventually go sideways. She'll sober up and want her life back. Take a hard pass and save yourself the future pain. It's not a matter of if it happens again, but when relapse is fairly common. On to the next story. Almost a year ago, my soon-to-be ex-husband cheated on me. Today, my dad tells me that he's recently learned and has proof that my mom has been cheating on him for years. I am disgusted with her. Original post. The person I'm married to cheated on me. We have a 9-month-old son together. 2.5 weeks ago, he said that he wanted a divorce after mentioning it for a while, and he said he was serious about it. He said, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." I thought it would all go away and back to normal, but after he said it, he became a completely different person, extremely cold and distant, spending very little time with her son. He used to spend hours with him. I've read stories online for people who've been told the same thing. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. In 90% of the cases, they were cheating on their spouse with another person. He fit in every criteria based off of what I've read. He outright said, "I want to be with someone else," as a response to why he didn't want to work on her marriage. I asked him to his face if he was cheating on me, but he said there's no one else. 4 days ago, I moved into his parents' house with my son because of extreme anxiety. He caused me to the point I was crying all the time, and I just couldn't do that in front of my son. Yesterday, he came over to his parents' house to see our son, and he left his phone to charge. I knew the password, which I usually always forget, and I felt drawn to check it, so I did. The password worked on the first try, which I stupidly enough see as some sort of sign that I was supposed to know about this. And I saw her messages. I clicked on the conversation, and they are in love supposedly. She's the love of his life. I felt my whole world fell apart in a moment. I thought I was dreaming. He was in the garage with his parents, so I walked in and told everyone the truth. It was shocking for everyone. He got mad that I checked his phone without asking. I come from another country and I left my home to live a life with him here. I don't have anything or anyone here except my son and his parents, I guess, but they seem to excuse his behavior now. I gave birth during the pandemic and haven't seen my family since. I came to this country in November of 2019. I had no status in this country for almost a year, had no health insurance, driver's license, or anything. I went through a postpartum depression that has broken me and changed me. Which is why he sought someone else. He didn't see the things I said and did as someone who desperately needed help. He saw it as hurtful and something he can't get over. I felt half alive for a long time. But now I feel that I have no idea how to move on with life. I kept thinking of the messages I read and they make me nauseous. I think if the trust he broke and everything seems like a lie, he didn't call to hear our son's voice 2 days ago, but he talked to her and watched her sleep or something. His parents seemed to excuse his behavior by saying that I've said and done bad things too during my postpartum depression. They're putting us at the same level. I feel broken and alone. I keep talking to my parents over the phone and they support me and don't see me at fault, but they also say I should stop crying and have to get myself together for my son. No one seems to understand the pain. I've been waiting for things to get better and easier to finally go visit my family and country after almost 2 years. I thought we'd visit it as a family, and now we're returning back there without a life I've sacrificed so much for. I don't know where I live, where my son will live, how the divorce will go. I am nauseous all the time, can't eat or sleep. I still breastfeed my son and don't want to take any medication because of him. I still put him to sleep and take care of him, but I don't know how I will go on. Everything reminds me of the past, of the betrayal and of the person who hurt me. I get sick to my stomach thinking he's talking to her. He seems conflicted as to what to do now. After I told him, he'll never be happy with her because it was all built on someone else's pain. He doesn't know how and if they will work out, but he knows he's in love with her. How? I normally have low self-esteem and don't trust others. And now I feel worthless. And will never trust another human like that again. I cried so hard in the shower knowing that to sacrifice my body went through to get my son here and feed him for 9 months meant so little to the other person that someone else is better. I don't know how to live. Update. Almost a year ago, I, 25 female, found out that my soon-to-be ex-husband was cheating on me, and I wrote posts about it here. It is what has led me to discover this community in the first place. It was a complete shock and trauma for me, especially because at the time I had to take care of my 10-month-old son. You can read more about that here. And then today, my dad, 53 male, tells me that he has recently found out that my mom, 54, female, has been cheating on him for years with multiple people and that he has proof of it, but he hadn't said anything to her yet. And I am the first person that he has told anything to. He doesn't know what to do and is only now starting to get out of the shock. I think that he's known it for a couple of months, but didn't want to say anything to me because he wasn't sure I could handle it, given that I also have been betrayed. He thought it may have been too soon for me to learn about it then, and that may have been the case a few months ago, but I have gotten a lot stronger now and have learned so much about narcissists, which, by the way, my mom definitely is, and narcissistic abuse, that I've been able to listen to him and observe the situation as calmly as I could. He told me just a little bit of the whole story today, and will probably tell me more later. But that which he's told me so far is god dang horrible. That I just don't know how to talk to her now after all of it. For now, he wants me to pretend like I don't know anything until we figure out what to do, but that is the hardest to do. I have no wish to call her anymore to talk to her. She is a liar. She has led a double life for at least 4 years. But most likely longer than that. And even when she's learned that I have been cheated on, and after all of the tears that I've cried to her and after knowing just how deeply hurt it was, she still continued to cheat on my dad. Her, a freaking cheater, was comforting me from being cheated on. What a horrible irony. It is obvious she has no conscience, no sense of right or wrong, and she doesn't give a crap about my dad. My dad has been trying to fix things, which is the first instinctive reaction, so I understand. And he says that for now, everything seems to be okay. So he's checking on her, I guess. But that doesn't make anything better for either me or my dad. I can't get over some of the things my dad told me that he has read. I can't repeat them because they're just disgusting. I cannot see her in the same way ever again. My dad told me that she had a line of men waiting for their turn, and one of the men who actually left her, and my dad said it was them and leaving her, not the other way around, told her upon breaking up, "But you're a married woman. I can see that you have a nice family," which is, of course, BS because he doesn't care about us. But it just goes to show that she cared about us, even less. My poor dad doesn't deserve this. He said that in all these years, 27 years, he hasn't touched another person. He said that every time he would go through the messages with the intent to save them as proof, I assume, he would feel so bad. They fell sick to his stomach, and I know that feeling all too well. I can't stand the thought of my mom anymore. She's not a mom. She is. I don't know what she is. I can't even pity her. Feels like I lost a mom today. My dad does not deserve this. A hater for everything. Edit. Thank you everyone for your encouragement. A few of you said that you're in the same situation as my dad, and that it is so heartbreaking to hear. I've read so many similar stories here, of people being betrayed later on in life. And I have always thought that no betrayal can amount or compare to that. To have trusted someone for over 20 years, only to find out that they were capable of doing that to you. What a horrible, horrible betrayal that is. And now that same thing has happened to my dad. I cannot believe it. But I do know that I will have his back through everything, and I will always be on his side. Our first reaction comes from Belv17. Show him this sudden, make him read the stories of the dozens of men who have had to live the same situation. It will help him feel better to know that he is not alone, and there are other people like him. Rivers 7711 says, "Wow. I am sorry for you both, your father and you. He doesn't deserve that. At all, and you don't deserve that coming from your own mother. Is he thinking of leaving her? Are you going to confront her?" Big Bad Booty Daddy 10 says, "Once your dad exposes her, be careful of the narcissist's prayer." Ever heard of that? That didn't happen. If it did, it wasn't that bad. If it was, it wasn't a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, didn't you deserve it? Moving on. Girlfriend. 25 female. Cheated after a 10-year relationship. Wouldn't let me go after I found out and tried to fix it. She's currently 1 year 6 months into that relationship with the other guy, long distance. So since I can't really tell anyone close about this, or gather up the courage to, I've decided to share my story on Reddit and see if I can find any helpful comments. I'm a 24 male and have been dating this girl for 10 years. Have to say about myself that I'm one of those shy guys that you can barely talk. Anyhow, this girl managed to grow into my life, little by little, until I finally got the confidence to tell her to be my girlfriend. It's all bunnies and rainbows from this point on. We're very young, still in high school. Everything was going good. After graduating, I immediately get into college. But she has to start working a full-time job due to money problems. Her father at this point is an alcoholic, so not reliable in any form, and has to see for her little sister too. We have a little more space for each other at this point. I tried to go every day to the yogurt shop and make her company for a while. Past a year, I've been working the night shift from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. After that, I went walking to school every day until about 12 or 1 p.m., then train and sleep. So I now just had my weekends to see her and on school during the day because now she got in. I have to say she's my very first girlfriend, and everything I now know, I learned with her. She's always had a really hard time making friends, even though she's anything but shy. I started to get a little annoyed that she would only come see me or hang out with me and my friends because she never made her own friends. I now know this was wrong and shouldn't have been that way. I made many mistakes too along the way. At her job, she had this boss, 10 years older than us, a little less maybe, that she got awkwardly close to. I never told her that because shy 17-year-old me, she would stay late to help close the yogurt shop. He would give her rides home. So, yeah, I was a little bit uncomfortable with that. And at this point, we would spend even less time together. Since she didn't have that much free time like me, I would go to most of the parties I had at the time just with my friends. On one of these parties at some guy's house, we all stayed the night in his living room, and I slept next to this other girl for my class. Nothing happened, but, some weird vibes started to go between us. Next few parties both got drunk, went to sit on a bench away from everyone, barely staying awake, leaning on each other's heads together. We kissed and left it like that. No words said. That came to 3 months seeing her behind my girlfriend's back. I came forward to my girlfriend, told her what I did, and ended things with the other girl, because I never really felt anything for her. As expected, we ended our relationship for about a week or so and got back. Everything is okay from that point on. She got a job at a gym that I started to go to. Got to say, I recently found out she got really close to a guy she met there. They would go out and eat, chat very often, and the last thing I knew, this guy offered her to move away with her, but nothing happened. Some of my mistakes were that I didn't take enough care of a relationship. I got too comfortable. Stop the details, surprises, the little things. You know? But so far, we continue and seem to be happy for the most part. Fast forward 2 years ago, I noticed she started talking with this guy she met on a Facebook group. A few likes here and there, a few comments. Nothing relevant at the moment. But then started the weird reactions, hiding little things, not been able to talk more often, weird drips, one of them with a friend, and the other one didn't even know about. Here's when things turned heavy. An even deeper suspicion from my part was growing 3 to 4 months after they started their relationship, to the point that one night, I couldn't stand it anymore. Check her phone, and there it was, messages and messages. That's how I found out she even had seen it twice. Saw everything, photos, videos. I also found out she got pregnant from that. But didn't work because it was an ectopic pregnancy. That same night I confronted her. She said she was sorry and everything, cried for hours, told me she loved me and was so sorry for everything. Didn't know what happened and didn't know when it got too far. I accepted her apologies and we started to go to therapy. At this point, a week later, I'm still hurt. This being the 6th month of their relationship. We were with her best friend just chilling, smoking a joint. Girlfriend didn't because she didn't like it. And at some point at night, we were sleeping together. Me and her best friend started touching her and had a little something. I know at this point, you may think I'm in a hole, and you'd be right. Worked so many things in therapy to this day. After that, her best friend told her what happened, and she got mad. Told me. She understood that, but got mad nevertheless. The very next weekend, she took a flight to see the other guy again. I didn't find that out till like 2 weeks later. And there she goes again with the whole, "I'm sorry. I love you. I didn't know why I keep doing this. We're still going to therapy. Talk this thing through." So the last encounter she got pregnant again, but same thing, ectopic pregnancy. Good work. So needed to take a flight to a private clinic out of town so they could take care of her. It was a real thought process to get over that. Few more sessions with the therapist later. We've worked on so many things in our relationship and got better at almost every aspect. I was slowly building up that confidence again and really believed things would work this time and we would get a chance to redeem ourselves. But I had this little unsettling feeling even though I just couldn't trust her completely yet. Then again, even she changed passwords and everything, I managed to check her phone again. This, being a week ago, only to find out that she still talked to the guy. The relationship never stopped. Talked every day, photos, videos, etc., and never even once stopped. Not after the therapy sessions, the progress we made. That very same day, I talked with her and told her it's enough. Even though I love her and care for her, I just can't stand this any longer. I have zero trust in you, so we should end it. This not being a surprise, she started crying again. Going over the same stuff, she repeatedly told me every single time I found out she was lying to me and cheating. At this point, I'm just standing there. Numb. I'm not mad. I'm not sad. Just numb. Because in all this time, we went to therapy. I got over so many things, let go of what wasn't my fault and improved in other ways. I guess in that process, since I wasn't receiving what I wanted from a girlfriend, I unconsciously started to get over our relationship. After all the crying, just as I was about to leave her at her house, she had an epilepsy attack, passed out. This is unprecedented. Never had one. Russia to the hospital, spent 2 to 3 hours there. Head home and stayed the night so I could look after her. Next day, make some studies. First diagnosis that epilepsy attacks, but doctors need more time to evaluate the results and get more detail viewed on the situation so they can give us a treatment. I know she remembers we broke up because she told me to leave many times, but I just couldn't leave her like that. So I stayed with her for 4 days, taking care of her. For anyone that doesn't know about this, these episodes are very taxing for the body. Now I'm in this position where I know we're together. I guess she knows it too. At least for now, in fear that she could have another serious episode that I have to take her again to the hospital. We have another appointment with the therapist this weekend, and I'm planning to bring this up, so that with a third-party presence, she can better manage her reaction. I guess the question is, should I keep helping her? I still think I at least owe her that for our years together. Also, she's pregnant right now. Went to visit the doctor a few times and everything seems good so far, and this time is mine. Before you say anything about protection, she's had many problems, operations over the years, and doctors have stated many times that her chance of pregnancy was really close to zero. We haven't used protection almost a whole relationship. I told her I could be present if she wanted to have the child and everything went out right, but I just didn't want to return to our relationship. Don't know how we can exactly move on from this point. Our first reaction comes from Little Law 3996. I'm not clear on this. Whose baby is this? Is it yours or the other guy's? Either way, don't stay with her. She is problematic. Also, if the baby is yours, make sure you get a DNA test to confirm it and take care of the baby. The op responds, "It's most likely mine." And, yes, I was planning on doing so. The hardest part I'm dealing with right now is, like I mentioned, that she's sick. Forgot to mention that once you get an episode like that, you'll get them for at least